Hi, I'm Dr. Kenyon Williams at Minnesota State University Moorhead. I'd like to give you some advice today to help you with the Minnesota All-State auditions with 3 simple tips that can help you do the very best you can possibly do for these auditions this year. Tip number 1, make sure you know your stickings. Don't just play the piece and every day constantly be changing your stickings around, upside down, backwards, sometimes starting a portion with your right hand, sometimes starting a portion with your left hand. Get your pencil and take the time to write in stickings, especially for the tricky measures. Now, a general rule of thumb when you're playing most snare drum pieces that I teach is what's called orchestral right hand lead sticking. Now, with right hand lead sticking or dominant hand lead sticking, so if you're left-handed, say your left hand, you would play anything that had a downbeat with right hand, anything with an and with the right hand, and the e's and uhs with your left hand. So one e and would be sticked. If I had e, one e and two e and one e, that would always be with the left hand. Now, this helps a lot when it comes to some of the easier rhythms that may be confounded with things like rudiments and flams thrown in. Say, for example, the third measure of the piece. If I play just the nice, easy sticking, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, it's easy. Now, if I add flams, it's easy to let myself get confused and let the flam change my sticking. Don't do it. Try to hold on to that same easy dominant hand sticking. For example, don't let the flam change and I'm still ultimately playing right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Now, do realize anytime there's a triplet in a measure, that's going to throw off all the rules. If my right hand's on the downbeat, say for example in measure number 8, my right hand without the roughs and the drag, without the roughs and the flams, it's simply right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So my hands are going to switch. My right hand was on the downbeat, then my left hand on beat 2. But I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to write that in to make sure that I absolutely know exactly what I'm doing. So I'm doing it the same way every time. Now, one other sticking trick is be aware of measure number 4. Those 4-stroke roughs. A lot of students have never seen those before. How do we play them? Well, you could play them single-stroked. In other words, 1. If I'm going nice and slow, I'm literally going left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And notice how my roughs are my roughs are softer than the downstroke. If I go slow. Now, another way to play a rough cleanly is a sticking that goes right, left, left, right. So in other words, I play it as a fast triplet, right, left, left, right. So at tempo, that's an easy way to get a sticking at a very fast, clean, nice 4-stroke rough. Tip number 2, make sure that you really understand the rhythms. And by that, I mean you can count them. Not that you kind of got them, but you can count them. In other words, sit down and make sure that you are counting each measure correctly.
At MSU Moorhead, Dragons do.
We do more on campus.
We do more in our classes.
We do more for our community.
Go Dragons!
Dragons do more. What will you do?
You need a way to count triplets. If your band director hasn't taught you a way, one way that I use, instead of saying triplet, is simply saying 1 la li, 2 la li. So downbeat, and then the other 2 notes, 1 la li, 2 la li. So example, measure 2 would be 1 la li, 2 la li, 3 and a 4 e and. Now, make sure I can count that. Why? Because if I'm not counting it, I'm guessing it. And if I'm guessing it, I'm probably wrong. That said, this really comes in handy when I get to measure number 12. There in 12, we have these quarter note triplets. Don't make the mistake of playing what's called a marching band triplet. A marching band triplet is not a true triplet. This is something marching band arrangers do all the time. Instead of playing true quarter note triplets, if I got my metronome, instead of playing what should be a true triplet, notice I left out the accents, you would do a marching band version. 1 and 1 and. Those sound almost the same, but they're not quite. And your judges, I promise, will be listening to see if you're playing a true triplet. So how can I tell if I'm playing a true triplet? Simply get my metronome, put it at a nice slow tempo, and practice with one hand playing a triplet. Then the other hand comes in. Take that other hand out. Now take this hand completely out, or maybe I just fill in the gap. All the way to the downbeat. Finally, take my hand off. Now, if I'm counting, I said earlier, I count 1 la li, 2 la li. So if every other triplet's being left out, 1 la li, 2 la li, 3 la li, 4 la li, 1 la li, 2 la li, 3 la li, 4 la li. This is something I constantly teach my students, is practicing coming into a measure like that, counting. So now I'm going to take my metronome, I'm going to go at a slow tempo, and I'm going to practice counting that rhythm starting in measure number 11, beat 3, coming into my chord note triplets. And I'm going to practice first just pure triplets. 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 la li, 2 la li, 3 la li, 4 la li. Then I'll practice playing that. Then I'm going to take my stick, and now I'm going to actually play the rhythms that are written. Again, just the skeleton, no buzz. And notice I'm doing the best I can to make a pure triplet. 1 la li, 2 la li, 3 la li, 4 la li. Nice and solid. So make sure you're counting, make sure you're understanding the rhythms and not guessing. Finally, tip number 3, play some metronome games. Once you feel like you have the piece at tempo, you feel comfortable, you feel solid, how good is your internal clock really? Well, this is where you can play what I call metronome games. Get your metronome. First off, set it at the tempo that you would like to perform it at. In this case, 120. Now, this piece is all 4/4 all the way through. This makes it very easy to play a simple game with it. So if I start the first measure with this tempo, okay, my pulse feels solid, I feel good. But what if I take that and now I click instead the half note pulse? So now I'm going to see how good my pulse really is. So now I'm going to hit this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I go and. I did pretty good, but I was so nervous about the metronome, I kind of cheated my accent at the very end. So I'm going to make myself hypercritical about my internal pulse. If you have a metronome app on your phone, many of them go all the way to 0 to 300. See if I could then, instead of clicking on the half note, put it down to 30 beats per minute. At 30 beats per minute, I have only 1 click per measure, right in the downbeat. Man, that's going to see how good you are really fast with your internal pulse. And finally, I do want to say, do exactly what I'm doing right now. Record yourself. This little bonus tip is such an important step. Record yourself, be hypercritical, especially in the week leading up to the audition. If you think you sound good, you think you look good, put yourself on that video, watch, listen, pay close attention, and hyper-evaluate yourself over and over in your practice sessions. It's a great way to get better much, much faster.